Welcome to a brand new episode of the Being Podcast, a safe space that I've created for us to come together and help each other out, if you will, so that we can think about personally how we need to tweak, if we need to, the ways in which we believe, engage, innovate, navigate, and gain in every area of our lives. I am your host, your girl Jada, and welcome back. If you are watching me on video on my YouTube channel, hey. And if I'm up in your ear, I always appreciate you. You know I do. So before I get into this episode, I just wanted to share really quickly. I hinted to it in last week's episode about only a couple more episodes before I kind of shut it down for a little bit, take a little bit of a break, and then come back ready to go. So with that being said, I am holding true to that. We will be here this week and next week. I hope you join me. And then I'm going to take about 4 weeks just to, work on myself a little bit, rest a little bit, spend some time with my babies and my husband, and then come back just ready to go in about 4 weeks in July. So with that, let's jump on in to this week's episode. And I'm always going to come with things that are probably pretty personal to me. If you didn't check out last week's episode, check it out. I talk about the experience I just had with my oldest daughter doing a pageant. And I'm just saying that to say I'm going to always be honest and transparent and as real as I can, and most times, like I said, it's going to come from something that I've either personally experienced or something that maybe I've been made aware of, or I know someone who's dealt with it, and bring them in just to kind of teach us and, educate and motivate us, right? So with that being said, I've been all in the, taking care of ourselves, how to say no, how to say yes, how to do all the things in between. And in this episode, because as I am looking forward to a little bit of time to just, as my husband says, go slow to go fast and work on a few things. I am wondering if you're like me. Like, we have all these ideas, all these things that we want to do, but we all have the same 24 hours, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, right? Yeah, everybody has 24 hours, but the ways in which we have resources, we can possibly do more, right? But, I digress. That's probably a subject for somebody else. But we have, if you're like me, we have all of these things that we want to do, want to accomplish, want to get after, on top of or in conjunction with the things that we have to do, taking care of our spouses and taking care of our babies, our homes, all of the things, and most importantly, ourselves, right? But what do we do? How do we manage all of that? Because I will tell you that so many times I want to do things, excuse me, really quick. Okay. So many times we want to do things, but then we will either get overwhelmed and not do anything, or we'll try to do a bit here, a bit there. And maybe because we are dividing our attention, nothing really pans out. So how do we deal with that? How do we break it down where we can still, make progress? And I talk about that a lot too, right? Knowing what it is, who you are at your core, the things that are really important to you, and how do you get after that? Well, one, you have to know what it is, and you also have to change your mindset so that you are, in the state of mind of getting after it, knowing that you deserve it, understanding all the nuances that come along with that, right? And then there's the piece of communicating it, right? So how do we communicate that not only to ourselves? Again, it starts with us, but how do we communicate it to ourselves? And then we share it with those around us who can help us to get there. And then the third piece of setting routines and systems so that we can make, take advantage of that 24-hour period, right? How can we get the most done in that 24-hour period? But something else that has become more and more apparent for me here lately is being in the moment, right? And not only being in the moment, but like being present. Also being able to say, yes, I accomplished this goal, and actually celebrating it and being there for a moment before we're on to the next thing. So how do we do that? And then what are the ways in which we hit those milestones? What are the ways in which we stay motivated and inspired and encouraged so that we can keep going? So these are the things that have been kind of going through my mind, if you will, because um let's see. If you are new here, welcome. But if you're new here and don't know about me, just a quick little rundown. Married for almost 12 years, mama bear to three incredible little tiny humans, including almost 4-year-old twins now. I am a 9 to 5er working, for DOD. I am in the military, soon to retire, and I am also a life and success coach. So I do a lot of things, and I have to be a lot of places. A lot of people, need or want my attention. And then in the process of all of that, I am still Jada. I am still striving for my goals, my dreams, and not getting lost in the sauce, if you will, right? So a lot of times people will say, well, how are you able to do all of these things? And I will tell you, I am in this flesh. I am human. I have my moments like anybody and everybody else. I'm not perfect. None of us are. It's never going to be that way. We just make the best with what we have, right? And so, something that I have implemented in my life and I'm going to do more of is like really being present, being where my feet are. Meaning, if I am with my babies, I need to put my phone down. If I am at work, I need to be like focused in on that, right? Giving them my all. If I am with a client, I'm up in there with them, right? We are trying to get them to their goal accomplishment. When I'm with my husband, you already know, right? So I'm saying all this to say we have to be present in being where our feet are. So for all of us, mama bears, or all of us career driven women, all of us that are busy, whatever busy looks like for you, we have to understand that no, we are not going to be 100% for 100% of those who need us 100% of the time. Like until someone makes a cloning machine, wish I could do that. It's just not going to happen. And I think that it's okay, right? Because why would we want to be so spread out and running and going? Now, I will tell you, your girl likes to multitask. There's something with my mind. I don't necessarily always like to just have one thing to focus on unless I'm like, no, I really, really, really need to focus on that. I will tend to have a couple of things, and it's just the way I'm wired. I don't know. Maybe I have something. I don't know. But for me, it's like, okay, I want to work on this. And then I will take a break away from that and work on something else. Just change of pace, right? Kind of like taking a beat from that to come back with like fresher eyes. Or maybe I go over here and do this other task that I have for the day. And I get super motivated because I've done great in that. And so then I'm like, all right, I can get through it, right? So for me, the first step is realizing that I can only do so much. I can only do so much in one day or one period of time. So, if I'm at work, I will give you my all while I'm there. But, baby, when it comes to not being on that clock doing that, I'm gonna need y'all not to be reaching out because I have now transitioned into doing something else. Like when I'm with my babies, with my family, I want to be there with them. I don't want to be worried about things because here's what I have found. And if this is you, you ain't alone, okay? You ain't alone. I know bad English, but it's all right. So if I am getting up in the mornings and I'm trying to get my three crumb snatchers ready for school, and we got to get up out of here, we got to get dressed, we got to get fed, we got to brush teeth, we got to brush hair, we got to do all the things and get out, and I receive a text message about something from work, that's going to set me off. And guess who does not deserve me being set off? One, me. Two, my family. That, right? Right? Like I'm saying things that are probably like common sense, but how many times are we thinking we're going to do one thing and then something or someone comes in and then it switches your environment? It takes you away from, your task that you're trying to. Do you know, and you probably know this because I know that y'all are super smart people out here, when you are working on something and you get interrupted, it takes on average 23 minutes. 23 minutes to get back on task. And that is crazy. And I know you're probably like, well, Jada, you're just feeding them or yeah, but I have a flow. I have like what I need to do. Then I want to be with them and then I'm dropping them off and then I have to switch gears, right? Let me have that time to switch gears. So then when I move on to the next thing, work, or if I'm off or whatever it is that I need to work on or work with someone, then I can do that. Like I have the room to move. Now, I'm not saying be rigid, right? We are bamboo around here. I was all into that last season. We're bamboo, we bend, we don't break. But we have to figure out how to, you know, protect ourselves, have boundaries so that we can be where our feet are and in that moment. So that's kind of like the first part of it for me. Now, I'm a big list person. I don't know if you follow me on any of my social media, but sometimes I'll share my notebook, my planner, because I really like it. It like breaks down. I have like a box for my professional things to do, a box for my personal things to do, an area for my water, a little box for what I'm grateful for. It just allows me to like really set up my day, write it all out so I can see it. And so for me, I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't want to do more, like three, maybe four things. If some of them are like smaller tasks, then I know I just, low hanging fruit, if you will. Maybe five, but that's the most on both, 3 to 5 on professional, 3 to 5 on personal. And most times three. Why? Because there's only so many hours in the day and there's so many things that, we have to do. But what is important? And if we have so many, we're not going to do them, I don't believe, at our highest and our best. So for me, I'm like, okay, what are the three things I need to get done so that I can really focus on it and I can provide a good product, whether that's for work or for myself and my family or for my clients, right? So that's kind of how I break that down. And I'm like, okay, so here are the three things. What are the things I need to do? What are the resources I need so I can accomplish that? And then I kind of put those in order, the priorities, and then I get after it. Now, if I'm having like I didn't get a lot of sleep, I'm a little cranky, I'm a little tired, then I'm probably going to start with like the lower, like the things that aren't going to take as much energy. Because again, I believe that small steps lead to, goal accomplishment. It leads to mission success. And so as you're taking those small steps, you're building momentum. You're like, okay, cool. I got that done. I can check that off. All right. Now let me get in here and do the next thing. Right. So I will work like easiest to hardest. Now, if I'm up and I'm good, I'm like, man, let me knock out this hard. Ooh, excuse me if you're watching me. Hair is crazy. If it's something where I'm having a great day, I will go with, let me knock out this so then I can kind of like dwindle down and maybe I can add in some other things. So you just have to kind of see where you're at, how you're feeling, what the day is looking like, what's coming up. And so a lot of times, something else I'll try to do night before, I think, okay, what's coming up the next day? And then that kind of helps me when I'm trying to prioritize. So those are some tips in terms of like trying to be productive. Now, another thing that I have gotten into just so I can see it, because I love to write things down. But as my girlfriends, like I love a good notebook. I love a nice pen, to write. I am more of a pen and paper type girl than like all the electronics. So I'm very old school. So I'll be like, oh, let me write my note here. And then I'm going to have this notebook. And so I'm going to learn how to simplify my life so I can keep everything together. But, find that routine, that system that's going to help you to like write it out or type it out and then some way to cross it off. I think that it makes you feel, well, for me, it makes me feel like, ooh, I'm accomplishing something. I can see it, that it's getting done. And again, that helps with momentum and it helps with just like, okay, I'm inspired. Let me keep going. So that is what I'm doing in terms of trying to be more productive in a way that's going to flow. Now, really quick, because I know I'm talking fast and I know we're already kind of into this episode. What about when you need to just pump the brakes? Again, if you're like me, we have so many things that we want to do, that we have to do, that we need to do, that we will try to like slam the calendar with everything. And then guess what? We're led to being burnt out. We're led to maybe being resentful. We're led to just being tired and being, agitated and all the things that we don't want to show up as or even in. right? So I am here, not again that you need permission for anything, but I'm just here to say that you're not alone, to say, you know what? I need to take a step back. I need to take some of these things off of my plate. And I promise you that in doing that, it does not make you less than. It doesn't mean that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. It just means that you are aware of all the things that you would love to do, but still knowing that there are certain things that you have to do and finding a balance. So, for example, real talk, because I'm gonna keep it real with you. Real talk. I said, you know what? My babies are not doing dance. And if you've heard some of my episodes, I'm like, we're not doing dance because I need a break. I love for them to be involved. I love for them to have something to do, but it's primarily me that has to run them around. And I love it. It's fine. But sometimes when it's like, I have work and I have this and I have this, it can be overwhelming. So I said, girls, we're not dancing this summer. And they're like, okay. But, they're ready for it to be back on that big stage. So in September, they'll go back to dance. But that gives me this time to remove that from, my weekly grind, if you will, and being able to communicate that it's imperative. Another thing is me now talking to them saying, I need you to help mommy to help you. So we all have to pitch in and do these things together, right? Because it's allowing for us to still take care of things, getting them involved and helping so that I can continue to move on with the flow of the home with each other and all the other things that we want to do. All right. So that's where I'm at. I just want you to know that keep chasing your dreams, keep going after your goals, do all the things, not only for your babies, not only for your spouse, not only for your employer, but for you. And sometimes it's okay to take some things off. It is okay to break it down and say, this is what I'm going to focus on. And it is okay sometimes to be like, I'm not doing anything. That is okay too. But in all of it, be where your feet are so that you can actually enjoy it and celebrate it and embrace it. And you're not going to be burnt out in the long run. All right. So let me know what you're going to do or what you're going to take off your plate, how you manage things. And we share because we are always what? Better together than when we are apart. All right. I will see y'all next week or be up in your ear next week for the last episode for season number 3. Thank you always and forever for being on this journey with me, for sharing with other people, and definitely for letting me know how this, hits you because it definitely means the world to me. All right, y'all. I will see you then.